Hey, what's up, everybody? Solomon here. You may know me on Twitter as KingSolomon or on YouTube as KingSolomon. So I am finally doing the XRP Army news, a little bit about myself here. And thank you, Scott, for being so persistent and continuing to reach out for me. I'm a little bit busy between the kids and the family and trying to put out content and find content on a daily basis. If you're not aware, I've been into digital assets since the very, very beginning, late 2016, the very beginning of 2017. How I got into crypto, I don't know, some of you may know from watching other videos. I was actually recording an album, and instead of paying via PayPal, the guy lived like an hour and a half away. He had asked me to pay him in Bitcoin. This was probably December of 2016, January 2017. And I asked him what Bitcoin was, and I paid him. I put too much in, and then I left a little bit of money into Bitcoin. And 6 or 7 months later, I checked back on that account, and it had like tripled or whatever it was. And a couple months later, it had went up and doubled again, or however much it had went up. And I started actually looking into it. As a caveat, I did the exact opposite of what what you should do during an actual bull run, and then more so whenever everything went parabolic in 2018, the end of 2017, the very, very beginning of 2018, investing into almost anything that anybody was recommending. There was people at work telling me to invest into certain things, and I did that. Luckily, I kept a lot of my digital assets into things like Ethereum and Bitcoin. But the other thing, and most of you know me for being in the XRP community. During that bull run, we saw unsustainable levels of fees and transaction times, or at least I personally did through Bitcoin. So after that had occurred, and after I lost a little bit of money, I didn't lose a ton, but I kept it in some of the blue chips, or what I would consider blue chips at that time. And it made me realize throughout the course of 2018 that I really needed to start looking into things that I see as potential opportunities for the future, and looking at these companies to seeing what financial institutions, banking institutions, all these, not even financial institutions, but companies are investing themselves in. What relationships are they trying to make from a blockchain standpoint, from a digital asset standpoint, which really drove me to start looking into, XRP was really the big one, because I had known it from 2017 to 2018. People had said it's a banker's coin, whatever, but I never did research. I don't even think I bought into Ripple at that time, but XRP at that time. But you look at the corresponding relationships, or at least in my opinion, Ripple has been extremely successful as a company since their inception. And we can see very much so that what they're trying to develop is based on the utility of XRP. That does not necessarily mean that Ripple partnerships and RippleNet adoption, because they're software providers, right, is going to justify or constitute XRP utilization. However, it does, in my opinion, branch out and continue to develop on the rails that need to be there for XRP to succeed. If we get into where I feel like we are right now in this space, I do feel like there's a lot of uncertainty. I feel like this space is very much so still speculation driven. I would say probably 95 to 98% speculation driven. There is some utility, but we don't see utility from a utility standpoint. We do as far as XRP is concerned. We've seen testimonies of people utilizing XRP for remittances, the lower costs and fees, the quicker transfer times, the upfront and back end validation, so they can actually see what's going to be at the back end, and they know how much they're going to pay for these transactions to occur. But even other digital assets that have fantastic partnerships, we look at like VeChain. There's obviously utility there with VeChain, but we're not made privy to the information of how that utility is actually affecting these companies. We just see these partnerships, we see the utility, and we have to basically guess that this is providing some sort of value for the companies that are partnering or utilizing these things. Now, I do think that's going to change very much. So you're going to see utility start to, in my opinion, take over versus speculation. But in order for that to occur, I do believe that we need regulatory clarity. We know that we have regulatory clarity from Bitcoin standpoint and Ethereum standpoint. But you look at utility, and trust me, I have nothing wrong with somebody investing into Bitcoin or Ethereum or anything. I just look at, I'm trying to do what these other institutions are doing, and I'm trying to future-proof. And when you see unsustainable fees, even in Ethereum, now I am not saying Ethereum's going anywhere, because Ethereum has, in my opinion, too many projects built on top of Ethereum to lose at this point. I think Ethereum has already reached the tipping point. And I don't think that we're going to see Ethereum being utilized across the board for payments or anything like that. But, from a smart contract standpoint, from being, the base of all these dApps and stuff like that, I think that Ethereum is probably going to do okay. But I do get worried about Bitcoin and store of value. I personally don't hold Bitcoin. That's probably the wrong decision. However, if I look at a return on my investment, I think the money's probably been made for the most part with Bitcoin at this point in time, especially with, the store of value use case, et cetera. Now, obviously, Bitcoin's the most liquid. It's number one. I don't know. I'm just interested to see, especially when you talk about XRP. We know that there's utility there. We know that traders, even Bitcoin maxis that are traders, utilize XRP going to and from whatever they're going to and from. It's going to be very interesting to me to see when we have regulatory clarity, and hopefully it's good regulatory clarity that enables XRP to be utilized across the board, what actually happens as far as the shuffling of the top digital assets. And there are so many other digital assets out there that, I'm sure that XRP at some point, I mean, you look 10 or 20 years down the road, or even 5 to 10 years down the road, we may be talking about something completely different at this point. People tell me to look into different digital assets all the time. I've seen different digital assets pump all the time. And I will tell everybody this, I'm very much so standing my ground with my position in XRP. I believe in XRP 100%. When I buy XRP, I don't sell XRP. I hold XRP because I'm here for the long term, because I believe in the utility of it. When I've looked into different other digital assets, and you just can't find the information that you do find on XRP. You can't find the corresponding business relationships that occur with Ripple either. And from a banking standpoint, I can't imagine. I mean, the utility and the utilization of XRP to me is amazing. We know that the XRPL is decentralized, obviously, at this point. We know that the validators and everything that's continuing to go down a more decentralized path. We have the XRPL Foundation to help devs and everything else, and to increase decentralization with XRP. I very much so believe that that's going to be the case, and that we're going to get there. But you have to look at what these legacy institutions are looking at also. Once digital assets become mainstream, because I don't think that we're very far away from that. And I think that all that takes really is a country, and I think the Bahamas are supposed to go live with their central bank digital currency this month, I believe. Once that happens in these exotic nations and exotic corridors, in my opinion, it's going to be a domino effect. And once CBDCs are across the board, even if they're just being utilized on a trial basis, or however they want to throw that rhetoric out there, it's going to open up the door for real utility and utilization of digital assets. So I think, in summation here, I think that we're all in the exact right space at the exact right time. I think that there's still, personally, not financial advice, I still think there's 1000x coins out there easily, because we haven't seen utility being utilized yet, period, across the board in digital assets. There's a lot of speculation, and there's some small trials, like with MoneyGram. Like, we know how much money MoneyGram's clients were saving. We know how successful opening up all these rails were in utilization. So why scale back ODL? So there's obviously other reasons going on. I'm sure it has to do with liquidity and everything else, but we're just at the forefront of this, and I think we're at the very, very beginning forefront of seeing what utility actually does from a digital asset standpoint. So my advice to all of you would be to continuously do your own research. Even if you are sick of prices, or even if you're sick of everything in this market, it would behoove you to pay attention and to continue paying attention, because we know how fast these things can change. I mean, look what happened with BitMEX and them bringing down the hammer on BitMEX. I mean, I'm sure that some of you probably have digital assets on BitMEX. So you don't need to sit there and look for hours a day. You know, I try to do that, and I research anyways, which is why I started doing videos. So, but you know, try to keep your head above water here. I do think that we're in the right space, and it's all about picking the correct digital assets, because I do believe that it believes very much so that this isn't just going to be, you know, not financial advice, but I think this is going to be a wealth generator, not so much, you know, get rich quick type thing. If you do your research, have the mentality to hold long enough. And, you know, I did want to say thank you to Scott. I apologize. It's been so long for me to get on here, man, but I'm super busy between the family and the news and everything else. And I think that it's going to be very, very interesting to see what happens with regulations over the next 3 to 6 months, maybe sooner, and how these CBDCs are rolled out. And also, I think that's going to be the catalyst for us actually seeing some real utility and some actual news that lets us know how this utilities affected these companies, these organizations from a value standpoint. So thank you all very much. You probably know me from Twitter. Check out my YouTube if you feel like it. And I appreciate all the support. I love all you guys. So thank you guys.